And we are live, everybody.
And
Howdy, howdy.
welcome to Wednesday night's main event.
And below me, he said he wanted to be on bottom tonight, is the Bullock Experience.
What's up, everybody?
Mr. Kelly Bullock. And of course,
The Creek Junkie. You got to remember, it's the
that's
Creek
right.
Junkie.
Creek Junkie. That's right.
Junkie.
That's right. And to that direction is Daveallover. He will be taking away the show tonight, and he's got quite a bit of information that we all can learn from. He's got a couple of things he wants to talk about, and of course, anybody that has any questions for Mr. Dave, you guys just feel free to ask, and we will be certain to put them up on the screen so that he can see them and address those as we come to them. I don't know what's going on my side, but I'm only showing one.
That's what I'm showing right now. It's going to update in a second. I think there's more people watching. So and the thing is, we got other lives going on right now. So there's other people are fishing right now. So live on YouTube. So
they're popping in and out.
We're going to start coming in here.
That's right. Also, well, I'll make that announcement a little bit. We will be doing our spotlight of the week later on in the show. Have a great YouTuber out there that's been kind of following here lately, and I want to showcase his abilities. He's a multi-species angler, so he's actually starting to get into catfishing, which is a-okay with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't ask you before the show. Are we doing our word of the week?
Yes. If let's do the word of the week.
She's here. She's here.
Okay. Oh. We'll get to that. We'll get to that a little later in the show tonight.
Dave, so you were here last week, I think. You saw the what we were doing with the word of the week thing, didn't you? Yeah.
So I missed part of the show, so I might have missed that part.
So at the end of the show, we basically have somebody give us a random word. It's something that's really hard for us to actually know the definition right off the bat. So my child will come down here with her cell phone and give us the actual definition of what it actually is. But we try to guess what it is.
And it's a real word, but it's a word that we may not necessarily use in the everyday terms.
Yeah. So it's funny with some of the words that's been so far been said.
We kind of played around last week with maybe doing a redneck word.
What was it, Sasquatch or something?
Oh my God, that was Jim. That was all Jim.
It was Sasquatch. It was.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's something with Sask. I don't know.
Sassy-cock or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember. All I know it was funny, but at the same time, it wasn't so funny.
You're like
that's a real word. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a real actual word. You're like going, that's got to be a made up word.
It was a real word. Oh, let's see. Pontoon Jody was in the house first, real early today. I saw Sampy in at 12 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Mr. Sampy.
Wow. Dink Over Stink is in the house. Uptown Chrissy Brown popped in on us. Bugman 22. What's up, Bugs? Miss Paula Smith popped in. Of course, there's Mr. Keith Robinson from Fishing Stuff.
Fishing and stuff.
Today, we're going to talk fishing.
Not stuff.
351 Cleveland. Uncle Don R. Is in the house. Fish Sizzle himself in the place. So howdy, guys. Appreciate you coming in. As you can see, we have Dave all over. Dave is going to give us some information that he wants to share with us. And
it's basically it's left up to him. He has a topic he wants to talk about, so we're gonna leave it up to him.
We're gonna leave it up to him to give us the information that he so deems important, and then we will ask questions, and we will put your questions up on the screen as you come to them. So feel free to ask any questions tonight, and we will put them up on screen for him.
There's Dexter.
Dexter's in the house. He said he was going to try and pop in if he could. He was on his way to work earlier, I think.
And Squirrel.
Squirrel. I just love Squirrel.
So before you get started on your topic, won't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you fish at, and things like that?
So I'm from Southern Indiana. I grew up on a little river called the East Fork of White River, and it's just a little sand bottom substrate type Midwestern river, just like there's 1,000 of them. And that mostly consisted of trout lining, limb lining, bank lining, and rod and reel fishing. Uh, I think my family started sometime around the late 60s. I came along in the mid 80s, and I think I started in 1990. And I think I ran my last trout line when I was 19, and it was all rod and reel from that point on. So
Gotcha.
that's just a basic rundown. When I was 5, my job was catching bait. That went on for a couple years, and then I moved on to running the lines and eventually driving the boat, and that's pretty much it.
So. There you go.
Yeah. I think we've all started out like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But because I'm the creek junkie, I pretty much started out catching bait, but I just throw the bait back in.
Oh, go ahead.
I still do. People still get mad at me.
I never thought that when my dad was dropping me off on sandbars at 7, that it would end up where it is today. So
I still throw back hand size bluegills, and everybody's like, keep it for bait. I'm like, I'm not keeping anything for bait right now.
I see that we have Jim Rhodes in the house, my buddy Jim.
And there's Mr. John from Smallwater Charters.
Yep. Jim, a few weeks back, Jim went shark fishing. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go with him, but he was able to film for me. And I've put one video out already of where they were catching some sharks, some nice spinner sharks. Got a couple more that I'm going to be throwing out here shortly. And Jim said creek rookies. And I'll be putting those out for everybody to see. One in particular is a brute of a shark. That's all I'm going to say about it because I want you to watch the video.
And Jim, I got you. I'll show you your creek rookie. I'll put your creek rookie to shame.
Don't test him. I promise you might not like it.
I got one spot. I got one spot in a creek that I can catch about 40 plus.
Like I said, don't test him. That's all I'm going to tell you. Don't test him.
He said, I got to get me a shirt. All right. Well, let's kind of, I'm gonna put me and Kevin to the side.
Yeah, throw us to the side there.
We're gonna throw it to the side, and it's gonna be Mr. Dave's turn to start talking about whatever topic he wants to talk about.
What you got for us there, Dave?
Well, I'm glad my ugly mug is staring at me. I stare at it enough in post-production. I mean, I don't know if you guys know how annoying it is to listen to your own voice for like 4 straight hours, but I'll give it a go. So, like I was saying, how it really got stuck, where I landed, where I am now, where I try to preach a lot about conservation and basically legislation. That's my main push, that I'm trying to get people riled up a little bit about it. I think I was about 16. I was in that rebellious age of my life when I looked at my grandfather and I said, I don't think I'm ever going to run trout lines again after you're done. I said, it dies with you. And because I knew from a very young age that what we were doing, I felt like what we were doing was the wrong thing to do. We shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. And it really has kind of propelled my focus, where I just try to preach conservation, but I also try to put people on fish, man. That's like the big thing. Like, the more people you get into fishing, the more, just, I mean, look at bass fishing, for example. You got tons of rules, tons of laws, regulations, and all those things. That catfishing is catching up, but we're not there yet. And it's going to take a lot of people at the grassroots level to, people doing what we're doing right now, talking about it. But yeah, I guess that's, but we don't have to just go with the catfish conservation stuff. We can talk about whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. John from Smallwater says, "My wife catches more fish than me, and then I have to relive it in the editing, so I know your pain." Well, I mean, your biggest thing is I know you like to talk about catfish and you like to talk about their habits and things like that. So if you want to go on topics like
Yep.
that, it's fine with us. I mean, most everybody's in here is either cat fishermen or fishing. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, whatever you want to talk about, or you can talk about something you've not really talked about that you really want to.
Okay. So here lately, for some reason, I've had like this influx of bass fishermen come into my life for a number of reasons, just for work and stuff, and we have conversations. And one of them actually convinced me to take him out, and I did. But it was really interesting the way that certain types of fishermen, the way they look at ecosystems and how they should look and things like that. It's for bass fishermen, for example, about the only thing that they would talk about would be the bass or bluegills and stuff like that. And my main focus was just always trying to get them to understand that all these things have a place, that uh, that catfish play a huge role, and that catfish are your friends. Catfish are the friends of bass fishermen, uh, and that we really need to work together to build good ecosystems and stuff like that. But uh, I don't
Now,
know.
speaking of which, because this was one of the things that I noticed as I was started my channel and fishing and I started out. I mean, I started out fishing for everything. That was one of the things that my pops and I we started out doing, is what we always did, and just whatever bit the hook. And then I got into a little bit of bass fishing. Started catching some nice bass, and thought I was going to turn this channel into a bass fishing channel, and then I got hooked on catfish, and especially with the bigger boys, and started hunting them down and wanting to know how big they got. But one of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to ask you if you've your opinion on this. One of the things I noticed concerning the bass, the way that bass and cats um, react, they're very similar. They're very similar in the way that
Very.
they go out to bait, and the way that they spawn, and the times that they spawn.
Yes.
It was one of the things that
Very.
really caught my attention. So, what's your opinion on that? I understand you're saying very, but what's your opinion on that?
So so I've noticed a lot of similarities, especially with bass when they start getting up around the 8, 9, 10, 12 pound range. They act a lot like flatheads. A
Hmm.
lot like flatheads. They lay out on these points off deep. It either be a point or a break line somewhere, deep structure, and they'll usually only come out at night, and they'll eat one big shad, one big something, and then they go back. And that's why they're never caught. It's not that they're not there, they're there. Uh, it's really similar. Like when bass are really small, uh, they're they have voracious appetites. That's why they get caught. They're aggressive. They're up near the bank. But as they get larger, they start to act more and more. And I think a lot of that has to do with mouth size. I think your
Hmm.
hardware that you're packing under in fresh water depends. I mean, that controls the way that you live your life. If you can eat
Hmm.
a giant bait once a day, that keeps you safe. That's less time you're out there in the strike zone of something bigger than you. So as far as their behavior goes, it's tremendously similar. Like, for example, one of the things I was discussing with the last guy that I went out fishing with, he's a straight bass fisherman, doesn't care about anything else. And I said, do you ever pitch to brush piles, log jams, rock piles, and don't catch anything? And he says, yeah, you probably catch a bass off 1 in 10, 1 in 5, whatever. And I said, the reason for that is because there's probably a large flathead there. Or there's, a few channel cats who have pushed them off. But I said, they all like the same stuff. They're all doing the same thing. Bass tend to work the day shift, and catfish work the night shift. That's not always true, but but they're doing the same things all the time.
Yeah.
So,
And one of the things about I mentioned concerning the spawn, It seems like that when our cats are going on spawn, a lot of times our bigger bass are going on spawn at the same time, and the
Hmm.
they spawn the same. I mean, the exact same way that the cats will. So, like, you have to kind of you have to vary your species a lot of times if you're a true angler, or someone who loves fish, that is. And you go out and you know when your cats are out on spawn and you try to go bass fishing, and you're not always going to catch anything because they're spawning at the same time. But you might be able to get into some
Hmm.
stripers, or you might be able to get into some hybrids, or if you just love the
Yeah.
love to fish for panfish of any kind.
Mhm.
They start targeting those species. It just makes for a good all around fisherman, if you ask me. Someone who can actually
Sure.
control
Yeah.
and look for certain species during any part of the year. Um, but that was
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I was I
One
was.
of the things. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, oh. Well, in the catfish spawn, uh, it's really like if you're talking about channel cats or flatheads specifically, it's about covering ground. You have to cover a
Mhm.
tremendous amount of ground because
Yeah.
I mean, you have to find those feeding fish. I mean, you can definitely increase your odds. If you're in a river system, go upriver, go shallow. If you're living on a big river, go into tributaries and go way up there. I think that's one thing a lot of people may not realize is how far up a tributary that a 50-pound flathead will go. There is no barrier. If there's 12 inches of water, he's going. I mean, that's just how it is. I think that's maybe something that's a little lost. People try to stick to deeper water, but don't be afraid to go way up in those tributaries in mid-June here in Indiana because that's where
Yeah.
they're at, and you can pull them out of those jams. You can pull them out of those holes on their spawn.
And you were talking earlier about talking about with that bass the bass guy about hitting the log jams, the rock stuff like that. And that's one thing that I
Hmm.
try to tell like all the time when I'm creek fishing is especially because I creek weight, and those are the same places that I fish is log areas, rock hangovers, root areas, and I try to portray that and say, hey, this is the same way you'd be doing if you're trying to catch like flatheads and things like that, or even
Yeah.
on main lakes if
Yeah.
you're trying to catch bass or anything. Is
Right.
you look for those spots, you look for down
Yeah.
trees, you look for
Yeah.
anything on your equipment to find these places that will hold fish.
That's right. Yeah, Jim
Hmm.
was stating in the winter
Yeah.
we
These
can
are
catch
primo
cat.
niche environments.
Yeah.
Jim was stating in the winter we can catch cats, bass, and hybrids all in the same places because the shad group up in the deeper water. And this is true. That's one of the things that I have actually found to
Yeah.
be true.
Yes.
And
They'll follow the
everything.
bait, and we always say it. They'll follow the bait.
Yep. Thank you, Cleveland,
Yeah.
for putting that out there. The violent hybrid striper takedown.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I
Appreciate you.
remember that one. That's a good video.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Got Buck
Yeah.
Williams in the house. Says, was Mr. Buck saying the craziest thing I saw fishing was a catfish following a jitterbug. Didn't hit it, but it followed.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they're especially flatheads.
I was just
Especially
about
around here on our lake here
Yes.
in Kentucky,
Yes.
southeast part of Kentucky on Lake Cumberland is a lot of flatheads, especially smaller ones, are hitting these just odd bass lures.
well during a tournament on our lake
Hmm.
a year or so ago, I guess it was. There was a bass fisherman in a tournament, a bass tournament, and he caught, I think it was a 56-pound flathead, and I believe it was on a little jitterbug. And he was using. I got in touch with him and I asked him what size line was he using. He said 10 pound. He was using a 10 pound. Can you
Talk about a fight.
imagine? I was going to say, can you imagine the fight off of that? Um, but yeah, it's
He probably thought he had like a 10 or 11 pound bass on.
exactly. So does anybody in the house have any questions for Dave as far as, I mean, anything goes? Well, fishing related, that is. We have some jokesters out there, but
Yes.
anything goes as far as fishing is concerned. Dave is real well rounded when it comes to
Yeah.
fishing. So anything that you guys want to know, I'm sure he can he can answer. Feel free to ask those questions. We will put them up for you.
How I do have one question. How, because I've watched the video, but I can't remember if you talked about it in your Flathead special video where you talk about the habits and things like that. How territorial are flatheads? Are they like, do they like to be by themselves, or do they like to group
Very
up?
unbelievably so.
Okay.
They
I
well
noticed, because I
during
noticed a
certain
lot of
times
people
of
would
year they
catch
will group up,
one or two in
particularly in the
a.
wintertime.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, wintertime is really the only time besides the spawn that they really come together, and they come together in great number. But I mean, nobody's diving for them anymore. But, you know, as far as being multiple flatheads on the same log jam, they will coexist with each other, but it's rare. You almost will never find a small one and a big one together unless he's getting ready to be eaten and doesn't realize it. Normally, you'll find them within 5 to 10 pounds of each other if there's more than one. It's not unheard of, but it's unlikely. If you have if you've got a 5 mile stretch and suddenly there's a 12-foot hole with a log pile in it, there might be two or three in there, but the likelihood would be low. You typically find them solitary. They don't like being around each other, but you know they do get caught together. It does happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. See, now blues are different. Blues and
Yeah.
channel cats are different because you'll find channel cats stacked up
yeah,
on top of each other.
right.
And blues are nomadic.
Right.
They travel
Yeah.
all
The only time
over,
you'll see that is in the
constantly moving.
wintertime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Dale Hayslip stated, "Oh yes, Dave is a great flathead angler. Watched all of his videos, most of them twice. So you're doing something right there, buddy."
I am, I guess.
Turtle Lady's in the house. Says, "Good evening. How you doing, Turtle Lady?"
Oh, oh gosh, here we go. Jim, I know Jim's got a real reason for this question. He says, "Is it true that guys with red beards catch more fish than other guys?"
That's
Dave
not
says,
true because I got a buddy that's redheaded and he don't catch anything. So uh, I don't know if he's ever gonna watch this or not, but I'd probably just tell him about it tomorrow. But yeah.
So one of the questions that we like to ask a lot of times, and this is no exception, what are your PBs? What are your biggest fish? Any fish?
So the it took me a lot of years. So like a long time ago, my dad and I were flathead fishing. We were using balloons. We were dropping long-eared sunfish down just above log jams, and we actually caught a 46, and I reeled it in when I was about 20 or 20, 21, 22. I decided to not count that as my PB because I really didn't catch it. My dad caught that fish. Um, and so last year, me and my son landed a 44, and that was a group effort on a rod and reel. That's the biggest one. We've caught bigger on trot lines and bank lines and stuff, but rod and reel, the one that I facilitated entirely would be probably 44 pounds would be that one. But I've seen a lot of them, a lot of 30s, a lot of 40s. But yeah, that 44, I count that as my PB. Just,
Now that's
but
on
as
flathead.
far as like, are you asking about? Yeah, that's a flathead.
Yeah.
I actually went fishing this spring for blues and almost beat that with a blue. I'll be in a fishing tournament down in Ohio this weekend. Hopefully, we get one a little bigger than that this weekend. Uh,
There you
but as far as like, yeah, I think the biggest channel cat I've ever caught was 25 pounds, and I caught it on a crankbait
go.
uh, right off of a rocky shoal in the same river that I fish. Thought
Mhm.
I was hung up, and I had a bass rod.
Oh no.
And I turned and told my buddy, I said, "Hey, I'm hung up. I just ran it right into a rock." And that reel, I didn't even get that out of my mouth, and it just started singing downriver. Uh, but yeah, that that's probably my biggest channel cast, 25 pounds. So As far as
Oh,
bass and
Keith.
stuff like that goes, I think 6.5 ish, something like that.
Yeah. Keith wants to know what's your best video so far as subject wise. What do you count as
I
your best
really
one?
liked, so I know what he's asking me because he's a YouTuber, so I know what he's asking me. Personally, I happen to think it was my flathead circle hook video. Um, I think that's more useful. I go back and like, and I edited it for like 2 weeks,
Mm.
and it just. I don't know if you ever just heard your voice for hours and hours. It's really annoying, but I would go back and watch that video.
Mhm.
Um, I liked it because I had so many people come up to me after that in person and on the internet and tell me that that helped them so much that they're going to go back and start using them again. That, and they were like, I did exactly what you told me not to do. And I think I'm going to go back. That's probably my favorite video,
Mhm.
not views wise, but definitely my favorite one.
What on the cusp of that, then what video that what video has the most views that you thought was your most terrible video?
um,
We've got the hard
Gosh,
question going here tonight.
it honestly is probably my video that has the most views. Like when I go back and watch it, I look how terribly I made it. There's a lot of good information there, but the way I presented it could have been way better. Um, but yeah, and it's basically about how to find flatheads and where to find what banks to look for and where to put your baits. I think it's somewhere around 30,000 views. Um,
Yeah.
it's helped a lot of people,
Oh
and a
yeah.
lot of people are really pleased with it. I'm actually making another one right now because I didn't go far enough because I still getting people saying, well, where exactly? How do I know what log is the right log? What bank is the right bank? And so I have to go back and remake it. But yeah, that was probably it. The sound quality was horrible. I didn't like the videography. I didn't like the editing. Some of it is I don't know. Like I don't know what I was thinking when I when I did that. But it seems that people seem to really like it. So
The reason I asked that question is I have a video. It slowed down on views recently, but it's I don't know, I think it hit 1,500, 2,000, something like that. And yet it is my worst video ever. I hate this video. I just throwed it out there to throw some content out there. And I edited
right.
halfway whenever I edited it, and I didn't like the video, and yet it had the most views. At least for a while there, it had the most views. I think some of my other videos have kind of overtaken it some, but I kept asking my dad. I was like, "Why is this video blowing up, and yet these others are not?" I could never figure it out. He says he's got a real question this time. He's wondering, is gar a problem with
Yeah.
using live bait in your rivers like they are here? Can't get a big flathead bite because of constant gars taking baits. And on that, speaking of gars, I've always heard if you have gars in the area, move. What is your opinion on that?
So I would say the opposite. Uh,
Mhm.
Almost every flathead I've ever caught, I've had to fight gar. The last big flathead I caught last year, we lost two 8 to 10 inch creek chubs back to back, boom, on gar. 20 minutes later, we catch a 44. I even have a video called Weeding Through Gar to get to catfish. Sometimes you have to, you just have to do it because the problem is gar love low oxygen environments. A lot of these backwater eddies and stuff like that hold fish sometimes. Gar love them, but it's not just
Yeah.
those. I mean, anywhere there's bait, and guess what? That's where you catfish. You catfish where there's bait, and gar follow bait, and they're just a necessary evil. Most of the time, what ends up happening is I either hook one or or pull one up on the bank, and then I tend to not have problems with them after that. Not always the case, but I would never, if you see an area and you say, you know what, there's a big fish here, and I know there's a big fish here, you're just going to have to deal with it, to be honest with you. it sucks. Use a little bit bigger baits. I do that.
Mhm.
I've recently started using bass, 10 to 11-inch bass. They tend to leave them alone. So we'll see.
That's interesting. why why do they leave them alone? That's the question. And that
Yep.
kind of brings up the other question that Jim
Eat
was
'em.
asking: and what are we going to do to lessen the gar numbers? Yeah. Somebody once
Eat
told
'em.
me, and I can't remember what
Eat them.
body of water it was on. What Can't remember what body of water it was on, but somebody told me if you ever catch a gar, throw him on the bank, kill him, and throw him on the bank. That's what
Yes.
they told us. But I can't remember what body of water it was on when that was told. Keith stated that
I do wish they
30,000
had a more
people.
applicable. Yeah. Yeah. I wish gar had a more applicable use to them. Uh, you just got to get through their hide, man. And I'll tell you what, nothing does it better than a good pair of 10 snips.
Yep.
Um,
Mhm.
if you can get through with a hacksaw, get it started, and 10 snips will cut it open
Yeah.
and you'll peel it off like a tuxedo. And there is the whitest, flakiest meat, and it's
Yep.
long, right? I mean, it just looks like two giant back straps on them. And I'm talking long nose, short nose. Uh, they are edible. They taste good. You just got to work a little harder to get it out of there. But I mean, I get it. I, I never want to mess with them. So
Nobody ever does.
No.
I actually had somebody out.
no.
We were about to go fishing one night, and somebody come up on the dock that had been bow fishing, and they had bowed a pretty good sized gar, and it was like, "You want him? Because we don't." And we said, "Sure, we'll take him." It was the first time we ever had gar, and so yeah, like I said, it was pretty decent sized gar. I can't remember how long it was, but it was decent size. And so Pop took the next day. We took him on home, and Pop took him out the next day, and yep, using a pair of 10 snips, got through that hide and pulled the edible meat from him, and we fried it up along with some cats, and man, it was some good eating. Um, I mean, it really was.
Mhm.
Susquehanna Stan stated, "I spent the last week converting a bass boat to a catfish boat. Done that myself when I first got started. I still have
Good
that boat."
man.
Yeah, and our buddy Patriot James is in the house with
Well,
Patriot
say,
Catfishers of America. He says his favorite bait is bass.
there you go. Oh yeah, garballs. That's good always. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Saw something else a while ago too. Of course, Chris from Hubcap Point Outdoors is in the house. As you guys notice, I am wearing a Slime Seeker shirt tonight, which is Chris's, I would say his invention, but it is his baby. Which later on, I'm going to go ahead and address this tonight. Later on, we will be giving those away. We will be giving a 3-pack of Slime Seekers, and put me up on big screen there, Kelly.
And Mr. Solo Man.
So we will be giving away a set of these. They're Slime Seeker rattling floats. You basically take and, well, I had them in pretty tight. So you put your line through, come out through the other side, adjust it up and down for how far up you want your bait off the water, put it back together. And as it comes through, similar to, but a little bit better, I think, than some of the um, others that are out there.
Yeah,
I've
the
been using
dragon
some of these
spins and things like
myself.
that. I mean, it's got a good sound to them.
It does. It's really
And these are 3D printed too.
3D printed, and he does a
So
really great job of doing that. So we will be giving those away a little bit later in the show, and then so stick around so that you might get you a 3-pack of them. Try them out for yourself. Speaking of rigs, what is your favorite rig, Dave?
Just a Carolina rig. Carolina rig. I've used them all my life. I don't honestly know a situation where they don't work, um, with the exception of suspending a bait. That's the only thing they really can't do, and you can almost do that. Um, if you got a big enough Santee rig, you can almost do that. But yeah, I just use a simple Carolina rig. I'm set up for it, so that's what I stick with. So I
You
have
fish.
recently built some floats, and I've been experimenting with them.
There you
So
go. Yeah, it's that's one thing that that we all do is we experiment and try new things
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
we tend to stick to what we love the most, but we'll still experiment and use
Mhm.
other rigs and see how we like them and that kind of thing. I know I do, and most everybody that I know does the same thing. As far as rods are concerned, and of course, we're not promoting any particular rod as far as that's concerned. But
Mhm.
what rods do you like to use?
So I've recently come into possession of two rods made by a small company called Sledge Line Fishing. They're not even marketing these rods yet. They're not even really selling. They don't even have a store. It just so happens I know a guy. So, so I got my hands on these rods, and the first thing that I liked about them was how light they were. They've got all the power of any of the the big cat fever, mad cats, any of these big name rods, but they're half the weight. And me, I'm a bank guy. I do a
Mhm.
lot of packing. I'm walking through crap that's up to my nipples. And the last thing I want is two 5 pound rods. And I'm carrying a 5 gallon bucket of bait and a backpack. Yeah, this is nice. I can take these things and almost just float them across the grass. But they're 7.5 foot. I think they'll hold about 8 ounces of weight. They're medium heavies. But yeah, that's sledge line fishing.
So
So,
plenty of backbone.
Plenty of backbone.
oh yeah, because my whole plan was to throw some giant baits this year. I was, if I 15, 16 inch bass, big buffalo,
Hmm.
as long as it's legal, I'm just gonna send it.
There you
So
go.
There you go.
Now, speaking of bait, as far as size bait, do you vary your sizes on baits according to the time of the year that you're fishing, or do you send smaller baits during the winter, or bigger baits, or you just constantly send the same size baits, or what? How do you
very
work your
much
baits?
so. Yeah. So in the springtime, the flatheads usually wake up in my particular part of the country, usually in mid-April, about 55 to 60-degree water. They start to move, and not all of them move. The first thing that they typically eat are very small baits. When you're cold-blooded and your whole body gets shut down for the wintertime, you're not looking for a big meal. You're looking for something small to get everything moving. This is why a lot of flatheads are caught by channel cat fishermen early in the year. They're using small piece of cut bait, worms, you name it. Crappie fishermen catch a lot of flatheads early in the year. They're looking for small stuff. Uh, Once the water temperature hits 65, you can start bringing those baits up. Like you can almost get, it's about the time of the year where for the rest of the year, it's as big as you can throw it, you
Mhm.
know, after that. At 65, I've actually seen a lot of studies, but there was one in particular by an Oxford student who kept flatheads in a basement. He did all kinds of experiments on them. But one of the
Huh.
things he noticed was at a 65-degree water temperature in the springtime, flatheads exhibited the highest amount of metabolic rate. They seem to be most active at 65 degrees in the springtime. But really, after that, right before the spawn, and even after the spawn, it's if it can fit, it ships. So
Yeah, we we tend to do to do that ourselves. Come about 70 degrees, we start, well, during the winter time, we'll go either way. We'll go small or big. It just depends on what we're looking for. Of course, one of the things in throwing smaller baits is that you're going to wind up catching a lot of small ones, before you get to the bigger ones. A lot of times you have to weed through the smaller fish to get to your big ones, but you will definitely look up and get some bigger ones throwing them smaller
Hmm.
baits. I know some of the biggest flatheads that I've caught come off of a small cut bait, and it was about springtime both times,
mhm.
that they were caught, and and it was just I had the right time, right area, and the temp was perfect, and they they were hungry, so they come at it, and I brought them to the boat. So Chris was saying, sounds like my science tank.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got a little
When
bit
we
of
talk about times of the year fishing and things like that, what is your, since you said you do a lot of bank fishing now, do you kind of slow down in the winter time, or are you still out there because it's you're bank fishing? Because I know a lot of people that are boat still go out and fish during the winter, but a lot of us bank fishers kind of shut down during the winter because it's so cold to be out there on the bank. We don't have, and we've got to travel a lot, like you and me, especially if I'm still bank fishing.
some of y'all shut down during the wintertime. Us Georgia folks, we still fish.
You fish what?
Us
You
Georgia,
don't
South
fish.
Carolina
You don't
boys.
fish. You just
Well, I ain't fished lately, so
yeah.
but that's because of other things going on. But yeah, us Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama boys, and Louisiana, we still fish. We still like to fish all throughout the year. Anyways,
So come about October, I really kick it in high gear. I fish all winter long.
Okay.
Am I out there when it's -5? No.
Nope.
But in 2 days, it's going to be 35 and I'll be out there, So I kind of, it's just really, you fish when you can. If you get 3 days in a row, then you fish for 3 days, but because you may not get to fish for 2 weeks, and the job that I have, we really ramp up from about January to March, but from October to the end of December, I'm hitting the water 3 days a week. So, and that's channel cat time for me. Big time channel cat time. The biggest channel cats I think I can get my hands on usually come in late November, early December. So.
Now, do you have to travel to go for the blues, or do you have blues in your area?
Yes. So, yes and yes.
Yes.
The river that I live at is not a very blue conducive river. It's shallow, it's sandy, it's holy, it's got a lot of structure, it's got a lot of really awkward currents, and it's just not a really good blue habitat. They like big open moving water, bigger the better. Right. And they're really, like, if you catch a blue cat in my river and compared it to a blue cat in the Ohio River, you would think they were two different fish. Like, they're just not healthy. So yeah, if I want to go after blues, I need to do some traveling. But I mean, I can still catch them here. But to be honest with you, I actually grew up believing blue cats were trash fish.
Oh,
but
camera down, camera
my
down.
phone. Yeah, I actually grew up thinking they were trash fish, because that's what when you're 5, 6, 7 years old and they're taking them off the trot line and pitching them back in the river and just calling them bait stealers, and it sort of forms your worldview of catfish at 5. So, but yeah, and it was basically, like, I asked my father, I said, why don't we eat these? Let's just eat one. And we took one home that was probably 15 pounds, and we filleted it out. And he's like, we have to eat it right now. He says, it's the only shot we got. And this thing turned to mush in the frying pan. And
what?
I tried to eat it, and it was disgusting. So he was like,
blue cat?
That's why we don't keep blues. I was like, okay, Dad. Yeah.
I've never, that's not all we eat is blue cats. And we've never had one turn to mush.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. So when I went to the Ohio and saw those blues for the first time, I was like, that's what a blue cat's supposed to look like. They don't look like our blue cats. I mean, our blue cats just look like beat up channel cats right after the spawn, but they're blues. That's what they look like.
Wow.
They're just an ugly. I mean, they just have a hard life. I don't know. It's a hard life in that river.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of our favorite fish to cook is blue cat. I mean, we like channel cat too. I mean, we like to, any of the cats actually. The flatheads are really delicious when you catch them just right. And that certain size where you can get some really good fillets off of them. But our blue cats, man, that's like caviar, man. That's some good stuff.
Oh Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. When I see blue cats from other areas, I'm like, wow, you guys. I mean, I wish they'd look like that in our river, but they just don't.
Should I show him? Should I show him my big blue?
no, you can't hardly see your big blue. Stop it.
You can't
He likes to show his, what is it, 47 pound?
47-pound blue cat.
He likes to show his 47-pound blue cat. See, you can't hardly see it. All you see is, if you wasn't so small, it wouldn't look so big.
That's bigger than me. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, exactly. All right, Catman's
I guess
trying
I
to
should
get my
tell
attention.
you, like I have since gotten into it.
Yeah.
So I've been going with a guy, and he's actually he's turned my whole worldview around about blues. So I'm back on the bandwagon. So
Catman was saying that was the first time he'd ever heard that himself. He lives up in Kentucky. No, he's trying to get my attention. What do you want, Jim? Catman, what do you want? I know it's no good. He's going to try to make me laugh. Oh my God. This is why he wanted to show.
I know.
Gabby caught one that size, Kelly.
Yeah, but that's Gabby. That's not you.
Oh, he's caught them bigger.
I know he's caught one bigger. He's caught one. He caught one in that little pond of his.
Yeah, little. I call it a trap. It's a turtle pond.
It was a trap for us. It was a
like
trap for
jail.
us.
It's like it was. It really was. It's like a jail. They get caught
We've
up.
told the story before, but apparently, me and Kevin here went on a trip up to Owensboro to go see Catman, Kentucky Catman Jim, and spend the weekend with him and go fishing. Well, turned out the weather wasn't that good for us, anyways. It was as cold as can be,
frigid.
Yeah. And so he takes us like, oh yeah, we can go catch some catfish in this what we call turtle pond.
The turtle
he said
pond.
It run off when when the creek or river floods, it floods into there, and so the catfish come in there. Yeah, we catch turtles.
we caught some crappie. So
yeah, we caught some crappie and some bass. Well, no, Justin caught the crappie.
Yeah, Justin caught the crappie. Yeah, the weather sucked. I agree with that.
Yeah,
it didn't start off sucking. It actually felt pretty decent, and then it got worse.
The day that we went fishing, it sucked.
So let's see, what time is it? 9:19. Let's go ahead and do our giveaway. And if you'll go ahead and get that started, and then while we're waiting on everybody to put their 2 cents worth in on that, let's go ahead and do our spotlight for tonight.
All right. So let's bring up the giveaway tool.
There you go. And if you'll put in hashtag Slime Seeker, for those of you that want to participate in tonight's giveaway, we will be giving away a 3-pack of these rattling
3-pack
cords. So, of course, Jim's going to say 2 cents.
Yeah.
No, Jim. Hashtag Slime Seeker. Don't put it backwards either. It won't count.
No.
So go ahead and get your votes in, and we will actually give those away here shortly while we're doing that. And it looks like everybody. There you go. Catman actually did something right for a change. So proud of him. Jim Rose is putting in, he wants to win some, but yet he can always get a couple of mine if he wants them. He knows this. All right. So while you guys are putting in hashtag Slime Seeker, let's go ahead and do our, oh Lord, what did I miss?
I put myself in for it.
I see that. Dave, if you want to get in on that action, you can too, buddy. If you got a way of doing that.
Yep.
All right, let's do our spotlight of the week, if we will.
All right.
And we will be showcasing Fishing with Tuck, Mr. Colton Tucker. So here we go. Of course he would. Of course he would.
We got Skip from Clearview Outdoors is in the house. And we got Aircraft One. What's up, buddy? That's my buddy up there.
Yeah. And Hubcap's putting slimeseeker.com.
Yep.
And of course he already has his. He's just putting that out there. But that's you can actually get your own, and he's got some other things. Chris has got some other things in the works that he is doing. He also took last week when Patriot was talking about the bobber stoppers, and he actually made some bobber stoppers, sent me a picture of them, asking me some questions concerning them, and they look really good. So he's got some of those coming out pretty soon himself. Just very entrepreneurial, and he's getting all kind of ideas, and not just doing a lot of good stuff.
I like what
yes
said.
Yes.
Oh,
we'll be in charge. Jim Rhodes, we need to make a trip, son.
There's Lance Bakuga in the house.
Yep.
There he is.
There he is.
Miss Becca's in the house. She put in for it.
It's Becca. I know she was.
Becca.
She's been. She had come in a while ago or earlier. Said she had just got home from church, I believe it was, or just got home.
I don't know if we mentioned Irvin the
tourist
is in the house.
So you guys will go ahead and put in for hashtag Slime Seekers again.
That goes a long way right there. So Dave's videos are great, very informative, and appreciate what he teaches. Yep. And that's the reason why I reached out. Is I've been watching Dave's stuff for like the longest time, and it's just everything you put out to me is informative, and it helps me learn more. Since I didn't start catfishing right off the bat. I mean, I did. I sit on a pier at the docks with a hook and a worm and a split shot, and just dropped it down to the bottom of the water, and I try to catch catfish. That's pretty much how I started trying to catch them. But I moved into doing creek fishing because that's what my mom taught me. My mom was the one that taught me how to fish, and so that's where I did all my creek fishing. I still do my creek fishing because of her. God rest her soul. But she's the one that got me into that. So that's where I've always been. So now I'm getting more and more into the catfishing, but I'm not going to leave my roots doing my creek fishing. So.
Once again, if you hadn't already, Slime Seeker Rattling Quartz, we're giving a 3-pack away. Hashtag Slime Seeker.
And there's multiple. What is it all going to be orange, or you've got different colors? Because I know he's.
These that we're giving away are actually going to be orange for this time. He does have some green ones available on his website. Unfortunately, that's the green ones there.
Stan, make sure you put that hashtag in front of that there, buddy, or it won't count.
Make sure you put the hashtag Slime Seeker. That way, there you go. All right.
There you go.
So
we got 16 people in the house, and we got 10 entries. Make sure we get everybody's put that in there for us. Okay, Jim says
off on the boat trailer. I don't get that.
Gosh.
I haven't fallen off his boat. I just want to throw that out there.
Jim,
I'm not falling off.
Jim's he's putting lime and salt. He's getting ready to put limerita. I know what he's gonna do. And only him will put limerita.
Chris states he has the orange, the green, and he has pink ones. I forgot about the pink ones actually. The orange or the green ones. I showed the green one though, didn't I? He also has a split cork that he is utilizing for those that want to do a quick. Where are they at? Put me up a little bit. There we go. There we go.
So it does have the split ones.
So there is a split one also available to be able to just put on at any particular time if you want to go from a Carolina to a CNT without having to take your line loose and all that good stuff. So he does have those available as well. What do we want to do? About another 2 minutes on the hashtag Slime Seeker and then throw them out there?
No, Jim. No. Red's hard apple is what I do.
That's some good. That's actually pretty good.
It actually is. My mother-in-law gave me a case of it for my birthday. So hey, he said 2 minutes.
I see 2 minutes.
Yep.
So
we got Turtle Lady in the house. We just had a show with her 2 weeks ago. She was our first one for our Wednesday night's main event show.
That's right. I still can't believe she sticks her hands into these
I've been
holes
watching
for
her
these
videos.
It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy what she does.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah, sticks your hand into a hole, not knowing what's in there, and it's like she's like, "Oh yeah, it's the turtles got their back to it." I'm there going, "I wouldn't even stick my hand in there, no matter what."
Nah.
No, I've heard too many horror stories. No. Mm-mm. I remember asking a simple question. The simple question was, "What is the sketchiest area that you've ever been in to catch turtles?" And she said the sketchiest thing that she'd ever done before was when the very first time she stuck her hand into the hole and all these snakes come flying. That was at the point which I'd have been like, "Nope, we're good.
I'm done.
See ya. I'm done. I just wouldn't have done it no more."
Yeah, never more. Yeah, I've been like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this again." Or the first time it bites you, or the first time the turtle bites you, and because she said some of the people that she goes with have lost fingers. I'm going, I would have quit, and they're still doing it. Oh. Yeah, no. If I lost a finger, no, like I'm done.
No. Catman says, "Time's up." Let's go ahead and roll that bean footage. See who's going to.
Yeah, we're not on your time. We're on our time.
He does have a point, though. It is 2 minutes up. So let's see who's going to be the lucky recipient of some Slime Seeker rattling quartz tonight.
All righty, I guess we'll draw it then. 3, better get it in. 2, 1, 1.5.
Jim says, "I don't even like sticking my hand in the bait bucket after dark."
Oh, good gosh. Let's go. What should be me?
Oh, wait. No way, dude. No way. People are going to think you rigged that. That is too funny. You have got the luck of the Irish, son.
I don't even have the screen up. I literally do not even have the screen up on my computer right now. It's like in the background. So there's no way you can't stop it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it was coming.
There you go. Stan says it's rigged.
Rigged.
That is too funny. I tell you what, Kelly. I tell you what. I'll send you 3 personally.
Okay.
Run it again.
You may roll it again.
Roll it again.
All right.
Becca. Miss Becca Muttramp. There we go. So, Miss Becca, you know how to get a hold of me. If you will please send to my address, to my messenger rather, your address, then I will be more than happy to make sure you get those as quick as possible. I see Carrie's in the house. Hey, Oak, how you doing?
Hey, Carrie. Yep.
So congratulations, Miss Becca Muttramp. All right, Jim, we'll see you, buddy. He's got a lot of things going on.
That's the coolest name ever.
Yes. Been trying to get her to do a show with us because I'm interested in how she come up with that name.
Because she is in the mud all the time.
I'm gonna say stop
she grew up.
Kelly.
she said, "Holy crap."
Doing pretty good there, Carrie. Hope you are too, baby.
Yep.
She can't believe she won. Paul. Yep. PB catfishing.
Mr. Paul Boyd there.
Yep.
Appreciate you coming in here.
So,
So you got any advice for, because we're coming up where it's starting to get a little warmer, definitely in a lot of areas. So catfishing are starting to bite a lot more. I think where we're starting to come off of spawn a little bit now. Some areas are still going on spawn. Some areas come off. You have any advice for anybody on what to look out for right now for catfish, where to find them, their habits right now?
Deep water, daytime deep water. If there's structure there, that makes it even better. It multiplies it. Um, Preferably something with a little bit of current. If you're in a lake situation, doesn't have to be, but just you're looking for deep water. If you're in a river, you're looking for deep water. If you're going to go after nighttime fishing, you need to come shallow because they're going to come out of that deep water looking for food. And they generally come out in the direction that they normally would find food. So if you've got a creek mouth nearby, if you've got a sandbar that holds bait during the daytime, things like that, those are excellent places. And fish shallow if you're going to fish at night. So
sounds like the advice that Jim Rose just recently gave me, literally verbatim.
Yep.
yeah,
So
they're the same everywhere. So
Oh yeah, we fish Lake Sinclair. He and I fish Sinclair pretty regular, and well, I was until I wasn't able to for a while. But anyways, he was up there the other day, and he scouted out and said, I asked him, I said, well, where'd you find them? He said, well, he said, I found them sitting in some deeper water. He says anywhere from 4 pound on up to 10, 12, 15. He said, I said, what about the big boys? He said, I found them sitting up towards structure, in particular bridges and such as that. He said, but they're first thing in the morning until about 9 o'clock. Then you might as well forget it. They're going. You can catch them, but you got to follow them. And when you follow them, you got to go deep. So, nighttime, of course, or evening times in mouth of creeks, like you said, points, sandbars, etc., and so forth. Anywhere that's shallow because they're coming in to feed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think I lost my camera.
nah, you are
I think I'm
froze.
froze.
Yep.
Yeah,
We still hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. We still hear you.
Yep. So give us some insight. What's coming up on your channel? What kind of videos you got coming out?
So
you can give us a hints on.
So I haven't made I haven't made an informational video in a while. I've been super busy in my personal life. I've got two young boys. I have three sons total. One is my older son. He's 15. He lives with his mother, and I have two young sons. Um, and they have been keeping me and my wife very busy. Baseball, you name it, work. So I haven't really been hitting the water very much. But I decided to come out with a new informational video where we talk about how to locate the proper log, how to locate the proper bank, how to, how does current affect different substrates in the river, and how can you use that to look at, say, Google Maps, and without ever even going there, just looking at a topographic or whatever, your satellite image, and being able to accurately say there's a deep hole there, just based on what's going on around it. Are there wing dams, or is the bank made of rock? Is it made of sand? Is it made of mud? Just things like that. That's what my next video is going to be about. But of course, I never give up on them flatheads, man. So I'll be doing that the rest of the summer. And this weekend, I actually have a catfish tournament to go to down at the Ohio River. So I'll be doing that. Just remember, don't pick your nose or make funny.
Oh, here's a question.
Yeah, I was going to say Donald Knight has a good question.
There you go.
Ooh, I like this.
How about thermoclines?
I like this. So, thermoclines were never on my radar up until just about 5 or 6 years ago when I started fishing for flatheads in a lake. And that's when I learned that if you drop a bait below a thermocline, it gets really cold and dies. And for about 2 weeks, I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on And then from that point on, I have studied thermoclines ever since and what fish do, what flatheads specifically do in these areas. And they basically, if I guess I'll just explain what a thermocline. It's you basically have three columns of water, and your top zone is your highly oxygenated zone. It's warmer water. Your mid tier zone, that's where you're going to find most of your larger predators. Um,
Mhm.
and then you've got your bottom zone, which is also called the dead zone. There's no oxygen in it. It's almost void of life except for bacteria. So nothing lives there. So in the summer months here in Indiana, that usually begins about the middle of May, and it'll run all the way up into the 1st of October. A thermocline will exist during that time. For example, if the bottom of the thermocline is 15 feet, I don't care if it's 100 feet, you'll never fish below that, and there'll never be a fish below that. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
So this can be a curse, it could be a blessing. It kind of narrows down where fish are going to be. Um, but to be honest with you, uh, I really hate fishing for flatheads in lakes. I actually spoke to Spencer Bauer about this one time at length. And the first thing I asked him is if he ever did it. And he said, no, I like catching them when it comes to fishing for flatheads in lakes. So he was, and I just laughed at him and I was like, thanks, bud. I appreciate it. But it's a tough sell. Thermoclines, the best thing you can do, that I guess my best piece of advice would be to find areas where you have dramatic depth changes. If you can find structure on that depth change, it's even better. But if not, the depth change that'll be enough. And if you can find that generally a foot to 2 foot above the bottom of that thermocline, that's going to be your best bet. Anywhere that is in the lake, it doesn't matter what's around it. Just look for those specific areas and start there. But yeah, that's all I got on thermoclines.
Now, when you're fishing thermocline in a lake and you're going off, and you usually fish what off the bank, or do you get off on
Both,
a boat?
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say on a bank, how would you keep your bait or your stuff off above that? Would you use like a float or what?
Yes, a float. Yeah, I would.
Okay,
I've almost always used floats in
gotcha.
situations like that. I've got several places uh, that I wait till the thermocline comes on, and then I go and take my floats. So yeah, that's very specifically what I do.
Okay.
Speaking of floats, Patriot Ghost floats work very well for that situation.
Yes, absolutely. And I know they do.
Yeah.
And here's something that a lot of people have actually talked about, and I'm going to have to try it because I've got a spot that I can really try it. And this is what Donald was talking about,
Oh yes.
planer boards. And I'm going to
Ooh.
try it off the bank, and I'm just going to see it how it works. I've got a spot down on the Cumberland River up here in Kentucky that basically it's got some current. I'm going to try and throw out the bait and put some planer boards on it and let it go down and see if it'll
That should
hold
be
it.
interesting.
It'd be interesting. It would really would. It'd be a good video.
Yeah, yeah. Especially since if you're going to fish from the bank and you've got flowing water, your bait's already tending to go to the right or left.
Well, it depends on if I got weight. And see, normally on that,
Well,
I
yeah,
usually throw quite a bit of weight on it if I'm off the
yeah,
bank.
that's
So
right.
I want that bait hitting the ground. But
That's right. Yeah, Jim was saying it's all about the structure with oxygen and bait, and it is true.
Mhm.
Speaking of, Jim was just letting me know that our thermocline is in full force right now in some of our deeper waters over on our lake. You can go upriver or up the lake, what we call upriver, and fish in the what we call shallow water, which is
yeah,
anywhere from 10 to 20 foot. And then once you get down into the lower end or into the middle portion, actually, the lower end is the same way. You can fish in that part, but you get to the mouth or the meat of that particular lake, and you got a thermocline from all Hades. So, yep,
oh, look at that. I like that. I like that information right there.
yep. He is actually in process. I didn't want to say anything about it, Chris, because I knew that you hadn't quite quite got it down pat yet, but he is in the process of working on an adjustable planer board for that very reason.
I can always test it out for you and see and check them.
There you go.
Especially off the bank.
Yep. Jim was saying another great thing about a thermocline lakes is the shad are a lot easier to cast net because at dark they are right on top of the track of the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you just got to make sure you don't throw them down into the thermocline when you throw that or you won't have any good bait. Well, you'll have bait, but it'll be dead bait. You'll have to cut that bait.
Yeah.
Cat, and I was wanting to give a little shout out here to Old School Catfishing with Cat Matt. Thank you, Matt, for coming in. He says they work great off of bank, talking about planer boards. So this should be very interesting.
Yep, absolutely.
Looking forward.
I've actually got another idea too, because I'm gonna try to do that sometime this week. Talking about floats and stuff, but I'm gonna go old school floats with like creek fishing and stuff like that, for like if you're doing like bluegills and things like that. But I'm gonna test 3 different bobbers. So I'm gonna take a cork bobber, just a regular round float bobber. I'm also going to take one of those, the longer, probably do 4 of them. Another cork one, but it's going to be the taller one.
Yeah.
And then also do a sliding one, the one that slides on your line. So I'm going to test him out. I'm going to do a little small video and just test him out with a, almost like a Tupperware box, clear Tupperware box, so you can see. I can videotape it from the outside, so you can see it from underwater and stuff. So I'm gonna try to do that and kind of show you which one would actually look better, what presents the bait better, because some actually do present the bait better than they do, and which one works. So that might be an interesting video.
And then as soon as you get one of the slime seekers, then you can actually test that one as well. Yeah. Catfishing freak, Mr. Scotty Hill, is in the house. He was able to break away for a little bit to come and join us tonight. And that's one of my brethren from 2019. We all got together and did a little fishing. And that was all it was fishing. Same held true with Scotty and I as it did with you and I, Kelly. We didn't catch anything that day either.
No, we'll have to redeem that. We caught a crappie. That was it.
Yeah. Hey, at least we caught something when we were there. We didn't catch anything.
No.
And Catman blames me for that. He says my luck was what caused us not to catch anything that day. So that was why
the day that you is that the day you tore up the video games too?
Yes, same day. Yes,
same day you tore up Jim's video games.
According to him, yes. Yet it still works. I think it was user error, if you want the truth. Chris said a pencil cork with a bobber stopper works the best in a creek setting. You can set the depth and you have a better casting ability in tight places. Mm-hmm. This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
Shad Daddy wants to know how you doing there, Kelly.
What's going on, Shad Daddy? I'm doing pretty good, man. Appreciate you coming in here and hanging out with us. Definitely.
Yep. Any other information you want to give to us, Dave?
I
know we put you on the spot.
I know you're full of information.
Oh, I am, but you gotta. There's 100 miles an hour. This stuff just going in circles up there. You just got to reach up there and pull something out, and I'll give you what I got. But I'm drawing a blank right now. But
I'll tell you what. I have a question.
I'll stay here all night. I don't care.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
When it comes to all right, so let me see how I can word this the best way I can word this. So when it comes to dragging baits and drop shotting baits or suspend drifting, that is, or just anchoring up, are there better times of the year for that, of each of those, or does it work either way during the year, or what's your opinion on that?
So I am probably the worst person in the world to ask that. I've done all of them, and I've caught fish on all of them, and I have no idea why. I've got a buddy that actually introduced it to me. That's more of a blue cat thing because our river is so structure oriented. You
Mhm.
can't drag there. And it's so holy, you can't suspend there and just drift. Like it's impossible. You have to anchor up and you have to throw with current. Um, but I've recently been getting into doing those other two. And I'll tell you what, when a blue cat smacks a bumping rod,
I
uh,
was just about to ask
that
that.
changed my life, to be honest with you. I never felt anything like that. So, if as far as I think it's more about, is it more fun for you? Does it get you on the water more? And I'll tell you what, doing that bumping stuff for blues, that's going to get me on the water more. So,
That's the one
as
thing that
far
I
as
haven't
yeah,
done yet. I have an area in the lake that I believe that I could do that.
yeah,
I've actually gone great lengths in conversations with Jim Rhodes concerning this, about bumping, if how what the possibility and probability of catching cats up closer to the dam, which is on the upper side of our lake. Because it has a constant flow of water right there, anyways. And then, of course, when they open up those dams, you've got to be careful. But you really got to you get really have a whole lot of water flowing at the time, and blue cats are just crazy when it comes through there.
yeah.
Um, but now, as far as drag, I started out dragging baits, and I did that because I watched a lot of Steve Douglas, and that's what he was doing, and trying to emulate what Steve was doing in the river, and introducing it into the lake system, in the way that we fished. We did a lot of dragging baits, and trial and error, and a lot of gear got lost. But we also, when we learned how to properly um, anchor up, we started doing a lot of anchor fishing, and we really liked that as well.
Hmm.
Um, so then we got into the whole planer board deal. Got introduced to that a few years back. I actually have a set of planer boards that I have not put in the water yet. That's sad because of the person that gave them to me. I really need to make sure I put them to use. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. You just got such a larger coverage using
Hmm.
those planer
Mhm.
boards in dragging baits. I recently got into suspend drifting, more so into suspend drifting because of Jim. That's mainly what he does. Is he drop shots that bait straight off the side of the boat. As it hits
Hmm.
the bottom, reels it up ever how far up off the floor he wants it, and then he
See,
just
I'd
let
love
it
to
go.
do suspend drifting if I had a better trolling motor.
Yeah.
If I
Well,
if I had a hand controlled trolling motor, I suspend drift all the time. I wouldn't anchor up.
Well, one of the things that we figured out, or that I have figured out in doing this, is that if you got a little bit of a wind, that's your perfect motor.
Yeah.
Just let
Oh
the
yeah.
wind do its
Hmm.
job, because
Yeah.
you're already suspended off the floor, anyways.
Yeah.
And if you can just, I mean, you can take that trolling motor. Yours is foot fed, but you can take that trolling
Hmm.
motor and actually utilize that to keep that boat
I mean,
going in a certain
I could
direction.
set it. It's got a thing on the side. I can set it to where it'll go at a certain speed all the time.
Yeah.
Um, let me answer Donald's question real quick. No, Donald, I'm in southeastern part of Kentucky. I'm on the bottom side. I'm about 45, 50 minutes away from Tennessee line.
Oh, I just saw that.
Uh,
So you're in the hills.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
Okay.
yeah. That's pretty much where I'm at. Yeah, I'm pretty much. I'm 5 minutes from Lake Cumberland. I literally live on the lake, pretty
Okay.
much.
The shoulder bone that Chris is mentioning here, I've fished it a half a dozen times, and I've caught a few fish in it. It's actually right in the bend of the old river system
Yeah.
coming off the dam. Has a lot of mussel baits. A lot of noodlers go up there. That's those that throw the little noodles, and not the ones that stick their hands in the hole. Uh, they actually go up there and throw out
We
their
call them
noodles
jugs.
and
We call them jugs.
jugs. Jugs. Well, they're
Even though
noodles.
they're noodles,
They're,
even though they're
they're
noodles, we call them jugs.
I was gonna say it's
Hmm.
it's jug fishing with noodles, with
Yeah,
pool noodles is basically what
full
it is.
noodles. Yep.
And but yeah, they'll throw their noodles out, and a lot of times they just they throw way up river and let it come down, just pretty much just like any kind of suspend drifted you want to do. And
Yeah.
like I said, if they're generating and they got that water flowing, you can bet your bottom dollar you're gonna catch. You might not catch a lot of big fish, but you'll catch a lot if you want to eat. That's for sure.
Definitely.
But
so what's a species that you've been wanting to go after that you've not caught
Freshwater
yet?
or saltwater?
either one.
Let's go freshwater.
Probably. I'm really torn between two. One of them, because I can use giant live baits, and that would be muskie.
Ooh, yes.
The other one would be just because of its sheer size. That would be a sturgeon,
Oh,
probably up in the Pacific Northwest. It's probably those two fish. Um, if we're talking worldwide,
Mhm.
Paraiba, probably world's largest predatory catfish in the Amazon.
yes.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I would also like to catch a Wells catfish on a topwater plug. Ever since I saw that video on YouTube about 5 years ago, I've been in love with it. I think that would probably be the funnest thing that I've ever done in my life if I get a chance to do that.
We've got a friend in our community here, Martin from the UK. He has been paired with Mad Cats now. He's been sponsored by Mad Cats over there, and UK's first UK person to have Mad Cat rods. And a week ago, maybe less than a week ago, he actually was out with those hunting a Wells catfish.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
So I mean, that's somebody that I'm going to start watching more and more. Definitely paying attention to him because be able to see one live if he can catch one. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
The biggest cat
Chris
in the world.
Said redfin. Oh yeah,
Redfin pickerel.
I don't know. I'm, and this goes to me because I play video games, but it's a wolffish.
Who?
A wolf. It's called a wolf fish, and it's over there with the arapamas and things like that over in the Amazons.
Oh,
And they're aggressive. I mean, they're almost like a piranha style animal.
so they have teeth.
Oh yeah, they do, big time.
So they could kill you.
Oh yeah, they can tear you up. Yes.
And you want to go after them.
Yes. That'd be neat because what I've understood and read about them, they do fight big time. They fight harder than most fish.
Jim says, I love my trolling motor and suspended baits because I locate big fish with my active target and I can spot lock on better fish and stay with them longer as they move, keeping my baits on them.
See, and that's what I really like. I mean, it's going to be a long time from now before I can afford something like that. I've got the trolling motor that I could probably do it, but I have to buy the handheld for it. Then I got to buy the box that turns it into a spot lock.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to cost me some money. So
Donald says they have large teeth.
Yes, they do.
I have to look into that one. I've never heard of the wolf fish show. I'm gonna have to definitely look into that one.
Yeah.
So I'm not going out that far.
You're not going out that far.
No. I'll stick to the States. I mean, that is to say, if I could ever get over to Malaysia to catch some of those, what is it? The Dexter and them. Oh gosh, what is it? The red tail. Yes, I want to catch some red tail cats. Malaysia, and there's another one. There's another big one over there that they have in Malaysia. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head. That would be about as far as I'd want to go to catch fish. I'll stick to the States otherwise. I'm still looking for Mobies in both channel and blue cats. So
yeah,
it'll be a long while. It would definitely be somebody paying my way if I went that far.
There you go. Here's what it looks like. So the guy right there in the red holding that's what it looks like.
That looks like a made up fish, dude.
No, it's not.
It's like a guy put that together.
I mean, that looks like it was, like a bulldog with a fish head. I mean, that's muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, that is one ugly fish.
yeah, it is.
And you want to go catch that.
Yeah.
I
They,
bet Flannery could eat it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
they probably would.
River Monsters. River Monsters, actually, he has a video of the wolffish on it. So there you go. Right there. Bottom of the screen.
That is.
Jim's waiting on someone to invent something that opens the fish's mouth. I'm with you on that one. Does everyone or anyone know where to get good rod holders for the bank fishing for cats? Kelly, take that one away, son.
Ooh, Smackdown rod holders.
There you go. There you go.
I tell you right now, smackdownrodholders.com is by far the best one I've seen so far.
There are a lot of good ones out there, but
yeah, there really is. There's a bunch, but SmackDown does have a special part with me. I don't have them because I've recently just bought a boat and I was getting ready to buy them.
Yep.
I literally was getting ready to buy them, and then I ended up buying the boat. So, but a lot of my good buddies are buying them up like crazy, and they do stand behind their product big time.
Yes. It looks like it'd be a really good.
And they are, trust me, and they're made here, pretty much handmade. The guy does them.
And if you pair them with the guard dog,
yes, I was getting ready to get to that.
Yep.
So you're looking at those and a guard dog. So if you don't know what a guard dog is, our buddy Monty Sheets, a good friend of ours, has came up with a awesome device called a guard dog.
Especially for
basically helps the bank person, and it could help the boat people.
Yep.
It's mainly geared towards spinning, but it can be used on a casting rod. But it helps you get that initial bite. So if you're having finicky bites, little channel cats or whatever, just pecking at it, and it can set to where it could be a light touch or a heavy takedown, and they will hook up. And I've seen some videos where they do really, really good. So definitely those are two I would look at making sure you have in your arsenal.
There you go. Chris was laughing about that wolf fish.
Like
He called it Mr. Potato Head fish. I believe that. That's a made up fish, dude. That's just.
But it's not.
Chris was also answering Jim Rhodes' question, waiting on someone to invent something that opens the fish's mouth. He said, "I might be able to do that." And of course, Jim's reaction to that is, "I want the first one, hubcap."
Yep. we got a friend of mine in here, Smallholder Homestead. What's going on? Appreciate you coming in here.
And of course, Matt from Wannabe Outdoors. How you doing, brother?
Oh yeah, there you go. That's the other one. That's the one I was talking. Another one I was thinking of is Southland Cat Claws rod holders.
There you go.
Now a lot of them are pairing up with those with the guard dogs, Smackdown rod holders or those. Yep.
And of course, Uncle Don is stating that he has a promo code for the guard dog, Don5.
Yep.
So if you decide you want to get you some guard dogs, what is it? What was that?
There's Matt from Wannabe. What's going on, buddy?
What is it? Guarddog.com? Isn't that what it is?
Yes, I think so. Lance could put it in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lance, throw that up for us if you don't mind. Also, I failed to do something tonight I meant to do.
Ooh, look at that.
Got a 50
said I get a 50-pound blue today after work. Ooh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's always good. At the bottom, you'll see on the banner, Dave's channel.
Yep, and it's also in the description.
And it's also in the guarddogproducts.com. Okay.
Yep,
and of course, Lance's code is Lance5.
Yep. So you can either use Don5 or Lance5, get you 5% off.
Get you 5% off. There you go.
Yep. And they are made out of aluminum, aircraft aluminum.
I was going to say,
they are tough.
They made aluminum.
Aluminum.
I don't know what that
is. Aluminum.
You get your tongue around your eye teeth there, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not even drinking tonight. And
So what kind of rod holders do you use there, Dave?
Usually rock. Um,
Rock or a twig.
anything
Pigs.
available. I really have always just used whatever was laying around.
Gotcha.
It's
So
kind of part of it, I guess.
do
But
you what kind of reels do you use? That's something I meant to
I
ask. What are your favorite
so
reels?
that's the one thing that I would never skimp on is your reel, and I use Pin Warfare 20 LWs.
Okay,
Nice.
They're big enough to handle anything in freshwater North America, probably most of the world.
there you
Um,
go.
so yeah, I wouldn't go anything less.
I've yeah, they're a little out of my price range. I I like I tell you what I have, especially here recently after seeing Jim Rhodes catch that fish that I'm not going to mention yet because I haven't put that video out, off of a Chaos 60 PC Fun reel. I have to admit that was pretty awesome,
Yeah.
and to see. Are the Warfare's sealed bearings? I think they are, aren't they?
Yes, they are. So I actually had to have both of them sent in, and they were completely rebuilt this year. Um, but I mean, they're a pretty sturdy rod. There's two things that always go wrong with them. I don't remember the second one because both the uh, the clickers both went bad on mine, and that was like the number one. And like if you looked on it online, 3 out of 5 bad reviews was about the clickers, and
Yeah.
both of mine within
Mhm.
2 years went out, and I had to have them rebuilt. Um,
And
that's
speaking of the clickers, when you was talking about using a rock or a stick or something of that nature,
mhm.
do you generally keep your bell open and just you and run your clickers whenever you're out? I would assume that you would do so to keep from losing your rod.
I never use my clickers unless I got to go take a piss or something. That's literally it. I am, yeah, I guess it was just my dad pounding into my brain from the time I was 5. You know, look at your rods. At the time I hated him for it, but now here I am, almost 40, and I cannot look away from them. Like I can't
Yep.
physically do it. So really, the only time I got clickers on is if I got to get up and move away, go grab something, whatever.
So guess who's come home, Kelly? Who's smelling awfully good right now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Donkey.
Okay. How was work?
It was pleasant.
Yeah,
No, it
Enough said.
was pleasant.
she said that so seriously too. Oh my god.
I hate people.
Yep. There
Hmm.
we go. There we go. Any fin as possible. Just popping in to say hi and
What's
hitting the
up?
thumbs up. Yeah, speaking of which, everybody
I've
please hit that
I've
thumbs
got
up.
a PC Fun. I love my PC Fun. Now saltwater, I've not took it saltwater, but I actually do love my PC Fun caster. It's nice, but I also have 2 other PC Fun spinning reels too for bait fishing. So I kind of like them.
Jim, I was going to ask you if you had had you gone through and cleaned your reels since you've been out there on the water because it would be wise to do so if you hadn't
Yeah,
already.
especially saltwater. Yeah,
Mhm.
they will destroy a reel quickly.
Quickly. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Matt was saying that he's back, not sure for how long the storms are knocking out the power. So
Yeah.
sounds like everybody's getting storms tonight. I was also wanting to go ahead. There we go. Lance had put up the guard dog
Link.
the link, and he also put up the cat claws rod holders
Mhm.
links as well. Um, so if
He,
you
he said mine has been put through the test for sure. Yes, I
yes it has,
guarantee it. So
yes it
if you
has.
get them cleaned, if you get those PC funds cleaned and they're still working good after that, that'll be a testament definitely to a
A
PC fun reel.
huge
It's
testament.
holding up to saltwater.
It wouldn't matter to me if it was a saltwater reel or not. I would still clean it afterwards every
Oh yeah,
time.
absolutely, absolutely.
because if you don't wash them out real good and then grease them, it will tear everything up in a minute. So, gosh, we already hit the 10 o'clock mark.
Yep, we have.
It's been good
We have.
information.
We've been on here for an hour and a half now.
There we
Definitely.
have. That was something else I was going to ask David. I can't remember what it was now. I do that. You realize I do that? I gotta get my memory.
It's like I told you that text message earlier. It's called old timers.
I think it's just CRS, but hey,
Yeah, you keep on giving me the CRS.
I think that's what it is.
You take your CRS and shove it. Oh, look at that! Look at that! I washed them in a bucket of jelly donuts. We'll do that.
As long as you didn't eat the jelly donuts afterwards, hey.
He probably did. He probably did.
We like to eat, so there you go. Speaking, here we go. That's a question. That brings up another question right quick. How often, Dave, do you catch and keep to eat?
Almost never. Almost never. And if I do, it's usually at special request by someone, like my sister a few weeks ago. She wanted some fish. I happened to catch a bunch of bluegills that were big 9-10 inch bluegills, took them down the river, flathead fished with them, caught 2 small flatheads and still had 15 left. So I gave her 2 flatheads and 15 bluegills. And that was I think that's the only fish I've kept in probably over a year.
Good Lord.
So what's your thoughts on selective harvesting?
I preach this to people, and this is true with any big fish species, anything. If you have large mature trophies, you should always turn them back.
Yes.
The more of them you turn back, the more eaters you're going to have in the future.
Yes.
If you like eating flatheads, if you like, just eat the 10-pounders, eat the 15s.
Yes.
Anything under that, throw the big girls back, big boys back, because they're going to make a bunch of 10, 15-pounders over the next 5 years. I mean, they're going to lay 100,000 eggs a year. Some of those bigger fish are, and that not only, that's putting a ton of forage into the water, so you're feeding everything else.
Yep.
And if we do that across the board with every single species, you're going to have a ton of forage. You're going to have a ton of big fish. There's also another really important part of the ecosystem that almost never gets talked about, but there's a way to grow big fish, and it's very slow to grow big fish in the absence of big predators. If you don't have big predators, for example, there's a reason that rhinos and elephants are huge, right? It's so lions couldn't eat them when they were only 4 foot tall. So what you do, like, this is why I always tell people to put channel cats and larger predators in ponds and lakes, is if you want big bass should not be your goal, right? Bass should be a tool by which you get to there. But your big fish, if a bass has no reason to reach 4 pounds in 2.5 years, it's not gonna. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's the same with catfish. If a bunch of channel cats are born and there are no big predators to eat them, then you're not going to get the genes that you're looking for, right? You want those fish that can grow quick enough to not get eaten. Those are the fish you want producing in the next 2 years. So selective harvest is huge. I mean, I could go on about it, but
there's a pond that
I had to say that for another day, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a pond that I fish. I call it the catfish pond. I've got several videos concerning the catfish pond. The earliest videos were where Pop and I would go out, and we would literally come back in a 3-hour time frame with anywhere from 50 to 100 channel cap, because he just overpopulated the pond. And this is like a 6-acre pond, but I think the deepest part is like 15 feet. in the center or something like that. But he does have a lot of structure and everything where he backwashed it. He's recently put some more shad in and such as that. So over the past 3-4 years, I have fished that pond, and I have noticed this past time, which was a few months ago, when I went, that the channel cats wasn't near as plentiful as they once were. I don't know if it was just that particular day or if it was has something to do with the fact that he now has 4, 5, and 6 pound bass in this pond, where he
Yes.
didn't have that big a bass in there to begin with. But and he also has some pretty good carp in there that if he ain't careful, I've been snatched out of there. Because I saw one heck of a carp over in the shallow ends. But I was wanting to read this off to Chris. I've had it up and I need to put it down. A buddy of mine used $1,500 bait catcher in salt. It was totally seized up within a week because he didn't wash and lube it, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Which of course Jim said that he washed them, but he didn't lube them. Yeah, you might want to throw some lube up in there, buddy.
Yep. So he soaked them in.
Oh, we forgot to do it. We forgot to do the word of the night. We'll do it for another night. Let's not do that tonight.
Yep.
Completely.
That's my daughter Sky. So
yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
She's got her little cousin up there, but they're probably wanting me to come up and hang out with them before everybody goes to bed.
Yeah. We could probably we'll definitely have to do this another night because there's some great information that can be seized from Mr. Dave. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that banner off. Actually, I'm not going to turn that banner off. If you guys are not or have not subscribed to Dave's channel, that banner going across the screen there is his channel. Please do so. Make sure you hit the bell so that you get those notifications when he puts others out. And throw him a comment on a few of his videos that you watch to let him know that you enjoy what he puts out. I'm trying to learn how to fish. I've always just been a bobber and worm type. My kids just aren't into that. What do you suggest? Alloon Creek, Delaware, St. Park, O'Shaughnessy Dam in Central Ohio.
I mean, it depends. It depends really what you're really wanting to do. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with a bobber and a worm. Really is not. Nope. Absolutely. Honestly, that's one of my favorite ways to fish. Honestly, it is. And we did that. Well, we did that the other night, a couple weeks ago, didn't we? Yep. I sat on the creek in one spot with a bobber and a worm. Yep. And we catch about 40 plus. I think total 40 plus fish that night.
Yeah, I believe so that night. Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with doing that. No. You can always go with hand tied jigs. You can go with any kind of little. My other favorite one is what we call trout magnets, trout busters. You can get them at the store. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them, throw them out there. You can throw them under a bobber, or just if you're on the bank of a creek, just toss them up there and throw them back. Yep.
Crickets.
There's another one. Crickets. Yep. You can do crickets. Mealworms.
Grubs. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, anything, it really don't matter. I mean, they're gonna bite. I mean, heck, for I'm starting to learn to tie my own jigs, so I've been using my own jigs out there.
I tell you, the best way to get your kids to, I mean, obviously the best way to get your kids to fish is to take them fishing. But if you want them to really enjoy themselves, put your time on the water, go to wherever, it doesn't matter. And do some fishing, do some reconnaissance. The best fishermen do reconnaissance before they take anybody fishing.
Yep.
I wouldn't take anybody fishing for a long time besides being Pop because I didn't know what I was doing. Yep. Some would say I still don't know what I'm doing, but that's
I've done two trips now, 2 guided trips on the creek right now in my creeks. That I brought a buddy of mine, Fish Mac. I brought him up here, his first time fishing in Kentucky, and took him creek wading with me up here. He does a lot of creek wading down where he's at in Tennessee. Brought him up here. We went to one of my favorite creeks, and we walked it. I put him on several good sized smallmouths
There you
through our creeks. Then I took a buddy of mine that I work with a lot, work alongside with, doing what I do, doing a vendor for the major stores. Took him creek wading with me in my creek. I think we ended up with like over 50 together on our trip. So it's fun time. I mean, I don't mind taking anybody out going fishing in a creek. I know my creeks enough to where I can take. I'm comfortable taking anybody out.
there you
Only
go.
thing I can say is take you some waders.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Make sure you have some waders on you because you
And,
definitely don't want to be out there in shorts and shoes.
also, Chris was stating that for kids, bluegill in a pond or a creek if it's loaded, and I agree with
Yep.
that. Again,
Yep.
reconnaissance.
Or like a little city park or something. Little city
Yep.
park's got a little lake or something. We've got one up north that I did channel cat fishing. It's got channel cats, bluegills, it's got bass, it's got all kinds. I caught 9 channel cats out of it. I mean, something
And
small
don't
like
be
that.
afraid. Don't be afraid. Go to Google Earth. Look to see what bodies of water are around. You'd be surprised at how many ponds are available around you.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to ask if you
Yeah.
could fish it.
Yep.
Just just be, I have several ponds, local ponds that I can fish out of, and I'm courteous. Always be courteous. Let them know that you're going. Let them know, and ask the questions. What can I and what can I not keep out of this pond?
Yep.
And then if you are a tuber like I am, ask if they mind if you film while you're fishing.
Yep.
Some don't particularly care. Some would rather you not. And be courteous. Again, be courteous. Like I said, you would be surprised at how many people will allow you to actually fish out of their own ponds, out of their backyard sometimes. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. I mean, the worst thing you do is say no. I mean,
Exactly.
and you just go to the next pond.
Yep. And go to the next one. I mean, reconnaissance is the best way to find those fish, because
Oh, yeah.
like Chris was just saying, waiting for a fish to bite is the worst thing you can ever ask a kid to do. Their attention span is small.
That's the reason why, like, if you're definitely going to take a kid, make sure you go to a place that you can guarantee if they throw out a bobber with a worm underneath it, they're going to get hooked up pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
I
Do
mean,
your
just
reconnaissance.
don't take them somewhere that you're going to get like maybe a 1 or 2 out of 2 or 3. Maybe take them somewhere. Take them to a local pond, a public pond, or whatever that for a fact they're going to get fish after fish after fish thrown it in there. They're loaded. So
I mean,
we
I
call them fins.
remember
We call them fins lakes around here.
Fins Lakes. That's right.
Yeah, they're stocked. They're stocked ponds, basically. They're stocked lakes. So you're guaranteed there's fish in there, no matter what.
I remember a time where my brother and we were young, probably, and I say young. He was probably 4 or 5 years old, which put me around 9 or 10 years old at the time. And there was this one particular pond that my dad had permission to go fishing. He took us there, and we had the time of our life. I was actually in competition with my brother, who was 4 or 5 years old at the time, in catching these bluegill. They were hitting so hard and regularly. And I don't remember actually how that come out that particular day. I just remember we had a lot of fun doing it.
Look for structure. Also check if they've got a website. Check to see when's the last time they have stocked it. If it's been many years, something may have pushed them somewhere, or I mean, they just ain't got no fish in it much anymore.
And Dave, you can jump in most any time if you want to, buddy.
No, I mean everything you guys are saying is 100% true. So, yeah, I'm getting my kids into fishing. It's a little different with mine. I've never actually talked about this publicly, but both of my young sons are autistic, so it's a little
Okay.
different. But it's still kind of the same thing. Like I always have 2 rods ready, and I let them catch chubs and shiners, and man, they can just jerk them out. And as soon as they jerk one out, I hand them another one, and that's how I keep their attention span. Because there's this, it's a fraction of a normal kid, so it's even worse. So I
Right.
got to
Oh,
be like,
absolutely.
boom, 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 and then still 5 minutes later, they just want to throw rocks in the water anyway. So
Like, not where I'm
That's
fishing,
how-
not where I'm fishing.
that sounds like a normal kid. I don't care.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't,
And
and I'm not saying
Or
the
some
not
adults.
normal,
Or some
but
adults.
or some adults for that matter.
right,
Um,
right.
Chris was saying the size of the fish don't matter once they have been bitten by the bug, and they will be more than willing to wait for better fish.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely
this is
right.
true to all extents.
Yeah.
I've taken my son fishing since he was little, as many times as I possibly could, and we didn't always catch fish, and he would get fidgety, and I'd cut it short, a lot of times. But then when I got the boat, of course, by the time I got the boat, he was getting on into he was a teenager actually. By the time I got the boat, and so his attention span was that of a teen, which we all know is wow. And so, but once I got him onto some fish, especially when he started catching some bigger fish, he actually asked me every so often, when we're going fishing, I'm like, hey, all you got to do is tell me when, and we're there. But he doesn't like to be out there all day like Daddy does. I'd go from sun up to sundown on into the night if I had to, but he doesn't like that at all. He'd rather just be on them and catch his feel and then be ready to come home. So no, Irvin, you cannot skip rocks while you're fishing. At least when he's not in the same area.
No.
And that explains a lot. That's why you don't catch fish, Irvin. That's why Jim hasn't asked you to come back and fish with him. Catman hasn't asked you to come back and fish with him because you scared away his fish. And I think you scared away my fish too, because
Nobody
you
caught
skipped
anything.
rocks. Nobody
Nobody
caught
caught
anything.
anything.
Giving Irvin a hard time. I tell you what, now Irvin will fish his heart out. I'll give him that. When he's out there on the water, he will fish his heart out, and everything. But what else we got there, buddy?
I got my boat running.
Did you? Oh, you did get it right. That's right. I heard that.
I did get my boat running today.
That's good. I'm waiting to see you get back out on the water with it. That's what
got
I'm
my boat running today. So hopefully tomorrow, still going, and we'll get on the water.
Yep.
Yep. That's all I got for right now.
Well, if you get out there on the water, if it's late in the afternoon, anyways, if you go live, I'll see if I can't jump in there as soon as I get off work.
No problem.
For at least a little bit. I got to go visit with Mom before I come home. So
well, I better get off here. I'm already hearing my wife going after my child about not doing something. So
I was going to say you need to go see your child.
I hear you didn't do this, and you didn't do that, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that. I'm going, oh gosh.
Well, we're not going to announce who we have next week because, well, we're not 100% sure just yet.
Nope.
But we will have we will announce that.
We will have a show.
We will have a show.
We just don't know who it might. Hey, we might just do a bull session.
And we could do that too. But
I like bull sessions.
I know you do.
I like bull sessions.
There you go. Jim says you need to come down. He'll take you and I out there shark fishing. I'm ready to go.
I am too.
I'm definitely ready to go.
I am too. I'm ready.
All right. Well, Dave, hey, I appreciate you coming in, brother. We're definitely going to have some more time on the show with you.
Absolutely, I really appreciate it. I mean, you guys are great. You guys, I really liked your audience. I mean, they just had tons of questions, and that was really nice. So,
yep.
But
we don't claim to know everything. No. Absolutely never have I ever claimed I know everything. I still don't know everything. I'm still learning. I might creek fish for my entire life, but hey, I'm still learning about creeks more and more every time I go out because it changes. It changes constantly.
You'll never learn enough.
Nope. And if you get to that point where you say I've learned everything, then you might as well hang it up because you're done. It's got boring for you.
Exactly. So you might or might not go live tomorrow night. I have another shark fish. Let's try that again. I have another shark fishing video that will be coming out. What's the day? Wednesday, probably Friday. I've got a little more tweaking to the editing I've got to do with it. It'll be showcasing Jim's trip, a little more of Jim's trip out there on the water, and then next week. And then next week I will have another one that will be the video of all shark videos. So yes, he wants to know one more time: is the beard good luck or bad?
I might just shave it off and find out.
Hey, there you go.
That's a good idea, Jim.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
It's funny how that a lot of us cat fishermen have beards.
Yeah, we do.
Of one shape, fashion, or another.
Yeah.
Got mine.
I don't know, I might shave it off and fall out of the boat on Saturday. I don't know.
Make sure that the camera is going if you do, because that is entertaining. That is entertaining.
We could set you up for a whisker blooper.
There you go.
Hey, I put all those takedown videos on the what is that? The golden whisker?
The golden whiskers. Yep.
Yeah, I've never entered anything, but I started getting all those takedowns. And I put that on there, so hopefully they get me somewhere.
We have to acknowledge Jello is in the house. I kind of knew he would be here all the way to the end. So hello, Jello.
Jim said that he grew his out and then he went bald. He just what it was. It just sunk down. Eventually, it grew above its facial hair. It just kind of did this number here.
Smallholder is I cut my mustache off and left the beard. Now I'm Amish. Just don't go to the dark side and go mafia on you.
That's right.
Amish mafia.
Yeah. Jim says, but I catch fish, brother. He does catch fish. That is for real. That is for sure.
Yep.
So, all right, I'm gonna let you get to your family. I know I need to get to mine, and we will be looking forward tomorrow night if you go live, and I'll be looking for that so I can jump in there with you. Dave, once again, thank you, brother. We will have you back eventually. We have a pretty full roster at the moment, so if everybody's still intact.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you working with me. Next week is me and my wife's 9-year anniversary. I know I kind of sprung that like, hey, it was a little bit of a deer in the headlights. My wife was like, is there anything important?
I told my wife that. I told my wife, and it's like, what did she say? Did his wife say, why did you schedule a show on her anniversary?
Yeah.
It's like, did he forget?
I totally did forget. She's in the other side of the house right now, but yeah, it worked out.
There you go.
It's flat time. They're coming off the nest. My brain's all washy. I'm not even thinking, man.
Well, that's all good. We were more than happy to try and accommodate you. It actually worked out pretty good for you to be able to be on tonight anyway. So
absolutely,
So that was pretty awesome.
It worked. I mean, it perfectly worked out because I got one text that said, "Hey, I got to cancel for this Wednesday," and then I got to cancel for this Wednesday. It's like switch. It's like can we switch?
But all right. Well, Kelly, anything else we want to say or do tonight?
Nope. Let's send us out the right way.
I'm about to. Everybody, you have a great night. Thank you for coming in, and we will see you on the next episode of Wednesday's main event next week. Have a good one.
Let's go.